Welcome back to HR Shake, a podcast where we bring people, work and passion into the mix. I'm your host Camelia, and we're back again with Davy De Regge from iConnect to discuss another interesting topic we've been probably hearing a lot in the last, let's say, few months, and that is the impact of AI. And I'm sure most of you or many of you think of, let's say, the potential consequences that AI may have now being adopted in companies and on workflows. What would that entail? What would employees should expect? So let's see what we find out today. Hi, Davy.
Thank you. Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Just back from holidays, so back into busy period at clients. So, no, it's good.
That's good. That's perfect. I mean, it is the season of holidays now. So you're back from holidays and probably very busy now. Are you involved in, let's say, this AI transition period of businesses in general? Are you helping them more?
We get a lot of questions from business. We finished last year a finance transformation track, where we did AI implementation, but specifically on detecting anomalies, helping to do faster closing, etc. So we have clients that are looking into that. But what we see is this is a very specific domain, and that's what we still see today. That companies are working on a very specific domain and applying AI solutions to it. And what we see is that companies, because of the request to be more efficient, to use AI. Sometimes they say we need AI, but then the business has to figure it out why, how, and how we can apply it. But that's how we see that we see different applications rising in companies in different departments. So it's still in some companies in its experimentation phase. While we see other companies are rolling it out, are transitioning from experimenting phase to applying it on their enterprise-wide platforms.
Interesting. So they're open to the idea. They're more open to the idea of helping them improve workflows?
They have no other choice because standing still is going back. So that's why companies are actively looking. Also, the big software companies are investing heavily in AI applications on their platform. Like, for instance, SAP is bringing huge investments and efforts to get their SAP Joule, which is their AI platform, up and running. Since already, I think, more than 2 years. But that's what we see with lots of vendors as well. So
interesting. And I hear, of course, many people, especially employees in the companies who are, implementing AI, they start becoming more and more afraid. Why do you think that is, or should they be, or how should they maybe tackle this?
It's a very difficult question, and there's no single answer to that. So in that, I have to disappoint you. I think it begins a bit with defining a clear AI roadmap in a company. So meaning, we will need to look for some efficiencies and gains in the technology we use today, because AI is today perceived as a very hyped technology, but in the end it's a technology like any other. It gains efficiencies in different processes. That's why the big vendors are implementing in their current enterprise platforms, just to accelerate some of the processes, which doesn't mean that companies cannot look at best of breed solutions for specific purposes, which is maybe not available into a vendor's software vendor's platform. But basically, to come back on your question, if employees should be afraid of or not, that depends a bit on the roadmap. It's not only a technology roadmap; it's also part, and that's why I think HR plays a very important role, is to redesign the complete employee journey, because AI means that you will have a new colleague, being a digital colleague. So basically, everybody starts with using AI to help to draft documents, etc. Maybe to create some sort of a picture. In the end, it transitions to creating agents to facilitate the work of people, to do some automation. Automation in that sense, a bit more smarter automation than just a process repeating itself.
Sure.
And in the end, it becomes more and more, let's say, a digital colleague that is also not only doing the work of what an agent should do, maybe automating processes, but in the end. So to summarize a bit the flow or the evolution, actually there are 4 levels of AI evolution, and so people go from, as I said, from AI assistant, drafting documents, creating stuff convenient for marketing purposes, etc., or to draft policies in departments. And then you go to task agents, where you can really automate some of the tasks, and then you go to workflow partner, where an AI tool can support entire processes end to end. To take an example from HR is to go from job description to candidate communication, and in the end it goes to a digital colleague. So that's persistent support for employees, for managers, actually enhancing their tools, because in the end, and that's what an AI should do. It's a technology that automates routine tasks and amplify human judgments, because that's the whole point. You don't lose time in doing cumbersome tasks or putting in things, so you generate time to actually bring value to the company, because it, as I said, it should amplify judgment, meaning you have to review, look at things, you have time to think about new opportunities, etc., because your AI buddy or your AI digital colleague is taking over some of the tasks. Doesn't mean necessarily that there's a job threat. Of course, can always be that there's, as companies are looking for efficiencies, that can be a consequence. We don't need to be over enthusiastic on or not telling lies, and that could be potentially a consequence. But I think it's mainly a consequence for employees who don't contribute to the amplification or to looking for that efficiency gain in companies. Employees people that are not willing to upscale or to think about how can I define my own or redefine actually my own role.
Do you think companies are underestimating the impact or the implementation of AI?
It's not about underestimating the impact. It's you hope for a certain outcome and certain impact. Not always easy to measure. Of course, you're looking for efficiency gains. Underestimating the implementation, for sure, yes. But that's with many technology projects, because the moment you see an AI project as an IT or a technology project, I think then you're down for the loss. I think it should start from business requirements. You have to need business cases. You need to think about going or implementing into, let's say, an enterprise-wide solution. So not a solution in department A and another solution in department B. Nevertheless, you can have best of breed solutions, but basically it starts with the business, with the requirements, with detecting the opportunities, organizing the workshops, and then comes the more difficult part. You need to think about the data governance, data quality, security, because you need to secure your company data. It's not something you want to spread out in the open.
Definitely.
And then you need to indeed redefine a bit what in an enterprise-wide solution or in an enterprise platform, and what are the best of breed solutions. They're all different steps, and along comes there will be a big part of change management to it, because people's job will change or will be impacted. So we need to see what will be or what could be the impact, and then you need to. And that's why HR is very important. That we need to redefine certain roles of people. That comes along. It's not a technology rollout. It's way more than that.
It's a completely different way of working and thinking, I imagine, in this case. And do you think, are there any particular skills that these people or the employees, for example, who are impacted should have to be able to stay on top with the challenge?
On understanding the technology, at least from a business point of view, understanding what the AI solution can bring, maybe how to set up agents. IT can always support on that, but basically it's trusting the system, having your agents or your workflow or your AI-driven workflows in place, and also think about your proper role and to see how you can evolve along with that. It's not from day one to day two overhaul. It's a longer process. And for me, what is a little bit different with traditional technology implementations is that there's a bigger impact on the employee roles, on their day-to-day tasks and jobs that they're doing. So there's always, with an implementation, there's always a big change management part. So people need to accept a new solution. There's a different way of working. But this time, there's also the redefinition of their current roles,
which should fall under responsibility of companies and HR itself to be able to accompany them in this type of change.
To indeed be either leading the transformation on, let's say, on the not on the business part, not on the technology part, but on the change part, on redefining the roles, on thinking about the redesign of the complete employee journey.
Which makes complete sense. So then, can we consider AI as the major disruptor in this whole change process? Or can we think also at the point that companies in general are not expecting to have these kind of changes, and they're not ready for any big changes in general?
Well, AI is in any case the big disruptor. And the biggest challenge or the biggest disruption in that is that it's not only new technology that gives new possibilities, having more efficiencies, etc., but it's also the speed of how it's evolving, and that is where sometimes the biggest challenge lies for companies, because you have to be able to control, to master the change, and everybody needs to keep up on implementing a technology is basically always a bit, let's say, simple in regards to the impact on the company, on the change that it brings along.
Understood. And yes, indeed, HR has this, should I say, responsibility towards the employees in accompanying them in this type of change. But how should the top management or how should the organization support maybe let's say the HR people in terms of accompanying, let's say, the
being
workforce?
very clear on the strategy of the company. Meaning that if management sees, okay, we need to invest in gaining more efficiency by using AI and in fact any other technology, it needs to be related to a clear strategy, not meaning in terms of revenue gain, but basically on, okay, where do we want to go from today to tomorrow? Practical example would be then, okay, maybe we need to increase some of the departments, decrease some other departments because of strategic choices, and that's why it's important that I think HR is certainly always involved in that, and as using AI to drive that change.
Understood. So it comes from the strategy part, in terms from the top management. They have to be very sure that they have a strategy in place that they can help them support the HR, let's say, department. And
well, it's not enough that if top managers say, okay, we need AI. It goes a bit further than that. We need BI because we want to win time or efficiencies on this and that. We see that we can put more effort and work on other things that were still on the radar, but as you know, people in companies you have a certain capacity that can work on certain topics. With AI, there's time freed up to work on other items which was still on the radar, but for which simply was not the capacity available. That's what I mean with strategy, being clear on the strategy, the direction we need to go, and the priorities to be given to, let's say, the different departments.
Normally that's how it should be seen, but you see, that's why I was asking you at the beginning why people are afraid, because there are situations when AI in some companies is seen just, okay, let's say, as the one solving all the issues or most of the issues, and then the role becomes irrelevant of the person. Whereas normally it should definitely make room for that person, depending.
Technology is never about solving issues. It's enabling things.
That's how it should be. But you see, not many people think that, or not everybody thinks the same.
That's management responsibility to be clear on that, to lay out, okay, this is what we want, those are the opportunities, we want to use certain technology, nevertheless it's AI or another technology, we want to use it for this purpose, and be clear on that.
That should be ideal, because here I was thinking, and normally people and AI should coexist. It should not be one, should not, let's say, eliminate the other.
No. It's enhancement. As I said, in the 4 levels of evolution. In the ideal world, you gain a digital colleague. So you do your work, but a lot of things of your task are being
sent to the digital colleague.
While you take, where you can, let's say, amplify. As I say, you can put more effort or get more from what you see as an expert to assess certain situations, certain opportunities, and to bring more value to the company.
And is there any potential, let's say, big mistake that a company does when they're trying to implement AI? What is maybe the top you've seen so far? The top mistake is seeing as a couple of mistakes. It's an IT project or is a technology project, but absolutely not. It is, we need AI, so forcing or instructing the company to start using AI, but without a clear roadmap, without a clear direction. Lovely.
So that's the top 2 mistakes I've seen in companies.
Understood. And how open are they to understanding when you show them that, okay, you need a clear roadmap for?
That's again part of change management is clear communication, and the moment management brings a very straightforward message. This is why we need AI. This is the opportunity we want to grab, and this is the direction you want to go. So there's a huge management responsibility in that, along with HR, which is actually in the intersection of different roads, technology, business, employee, etc.
Indeed. I mean, if there were, for example, any kind of particular advice that you would give for HR, let's say, managers involved in a very big AI transitions in their company when it comes to the employees? What would it be?
That's very simple. First of all, again, management direction and clear strategy is key. But then, as HR is in the intersection of many different departments in a company, it's them together with business, with technology to drive that transformation.
Okay.
Because, as I said earlier, the big difference with traditional technology or IT project is that there's a bigger impact on the employee role, his set of tasks, etc. Because that is changing sometimes. In different form, but it's changing, and therefore you need HR to accompany that. Not only that, because it will create other potential side effects. As said, maybe you need to transition people from one department to another. So we need maybe to decrease because of certain arguments or certain reasons that you need to decrease number of FTEs in a department. But again, the one thing I want to avoid is that AI is replacing people. That is not the case. So that is not a problem. You want to make people work more efficient. So get rid of the task, bring more value, discover more opportunities.
This is what we needed to hear. Because indeed, nowadays, the discussion is that people are afraid of being replaced. Which, and again, like I said, I cannot give too many examples, but I did hear in certain discussions that there are companies who are willing, to make the role completely irrelevant after using AI, or so at least they declared to ADEM, for example, where we've had layoffs based on that. And we know that it's not exactly a very it should not be the case. During their transition to AI, have you heard any companies having a particular type of thought or, let's say, myth in mind when it came to AI, which they managed to kind of clarify once they started working on the journey, in the journey of transitioning to AI?
Yeah, I think the classical myths are it's going to replace people. Other myths are, I don't have to do anything anymore. It will produce things by itself. No, because you will. It will. Again, it's about taking over some cumbersome tasks to automate things. Automate in an augmented way, can be enriched with additional information, but still to be assessed by an employee. So it moves things up faster. But it's not a golden solution. Again, it's just another technology.
It is, but people are seeing it. It's very new, and oh my God, there's a solution to all their problems, or the solution to all their unanswered prayers, or whatever they thought it was before. No, probably you've seen it.
Yeah, probably the same thing happened when the first computers at company offices popped up. So
We're going through that cycle again, but now with a different technology. So before we wrap up, any particular, let's say, tip you want to share maybe with the top management who's going through the AI journey and they don't know how to start or what to do?
Very simple. Talk to your businesses. Try to see where we can gain efficiencies. Be very smart and clear about the direction you want to go, the strategy, and be open and transparent, and be aware that it's not about just doing it. You need a clear roadmap. You need to involve HR because there's a people impact. So yeah, that's my 5 cents. So
thank you so much, Davy, for the discussion.
You're welcome.
I'm very curious to hear how your the journeys go with the companies that are working on implementing AI, because it's going to be a very interesting year, this one and probably the next.
It's an ongoing evolution. You start at a certain point, and like with every tool and every new toy you have, people get better and better at it. So
definitely, we're getting there. Yeah. So you've seen another episode of HR Shake, a podcast where we bring people and work into the mix. As you see, AI should not be aimed or focused to replacing people. It should be basically a technology that could help us ease our work and automate certain things that we find repetitive, but not replacing people altogether. And if you liked the episode today, feel free to follow us on Spotify and on YouTube and on LinkedIn.